Isn't that interesting? Bitcoin is going up and so are most altcoins. However, it seems like the altcoin return is very much concentrated in a few assets. For example, Dash. Dash is outperforming. The question is, for how much longer? Let's have a look at the on-chain data, the data most people are not considering. Let's try to figure out whether or not it still makes sense to buy Dash. So here's the Bitcoin rally. We went from under 90k to 97k in the span of just a few days. Yet Dash was able to outperform Bitcoin. This is the Dash price relative to the Bitcoin price. Now let's zoom out a little bit. What do we see? Very long term, Dash tends to rather do worse than Bitcoin. There was the initial excitement, a rally of 7,000%, but then Dash relative to Bitcoin peaked in 2017. And even with the recent rally, we are down versus BTC by 99.4%. Now it's true that most altcoins tend to underperform Bitcoin most of the time, but Dash tends to even underperform the vast majority of other altcoins long term. And the question is this now turning around? This here is Dash relative to the others market cap. So the market cap of all the altcoins that are not in the top 10. Had you invested into Dash instead of a random basket of altcoins excluding Dash, then your relative performance would have gone from $1,000 initially invested down to 50 cents. So that's a drop of 99.95%. Dash was a clear money burning machine. But now things seem to be turning around. So what's going on over here? Is this sustainable? What we've got over here, that's the total value locked of the decentralized finance protocols on the Dash chain. There was initial growth, then a subsequent contraction. Now this is going up again, but the vast majority of this appreciation is just the Dash price itself going up. Measured in Dash, the total value locked is going up much, much less. So really, it's not the decentralized finance protocols that suddenly get used more. This is just an externally driven rally. Have a look at the number of transactions on the Dash chain over time. So this shows the last 3 years. Yes, there's maybe some growth starting roughly 3 months ago. And it now has a similar transaction activity compared to Monero. Zcash is still much, much less active. Why am I comparing those three? It's because those are the leading privacy coins. Monero has a market cap of 13 billion, Zcash a market cap of 7, and Dash only a market cap of 1 billion. So that's maybe where the potential opportunity lies. Maybe this is just a rotation away from Zcash. The core developer team of Zcash has resigned, and so subsequently some of the capital was moving over to Monero, and maybe now it's dripping over to Dash as well. And the percent change in the Dash price is simply that high because the market cap of Dash is so small. What we see here, that's the Dash price relative to the Zcash price. Again, Dash tended to underperform long term, then came the massive Zcash rally, and now Zcash money is flowing into Dash. And that's where we get the outperformance. Here is Dash relative to XMR, so that's Monero. Also a very long-term underperformance since 2025 of more than 99%. But now things have stabilized. Maybe now we're just trading in a range. Sometimes Monero is expensive, sometimes Dash is expensive. And if this trading range prevails, then there's potentially an additional outperformance of Dash relative to Monero of more than 200%, which also would make sense in terms of market caps, right? If Dash was now to 3x versus Monero, it would be at 3 billion. Monero is at the same market cap. That ratio still makes sense considering there's so much more transaction activity on Dash versus Monero. Now, of course, rallies like this are also driven by short-term speculation. And that short-term speculation is done via perpetual futures, via levered bets on the price. Whenever we see an asset rally like this, we tend to see short squeezes. So some people are pessimistic, they bet on falling prices, and then the market makers buy up the asset even more to liquidate those shorts. That's also what we're seeing here with Dash. There is massive liquidations on the short front. The short-term capital speculating on falling prices loses everything, and so the funding rate also turns massively negative. It costs now a lot of money to bet on falling prices. The trading volume is historically high, and there is positive correlation between the spot price and the trading volume. So when the trading volume comes down, the spot price can follow. The same is true for open interest. It's also at an all-time high. So that's the amount of bets on the Dash price. Have a look at the Dash price at the same time, right? There is this correlation. If there is less open interest in the future, if less people bet on Dash, then this will deflate as well, together with the price. So I'm not yet convinced that very long term this negative trend of Dash versus Bitcoin will break. Yes, this rally is exceptional. We have never seen this before. But a lot of this is due to short-term interest. It's just perpetual futures volume. And short-term interest moves around, right? It's just capital rotation. It's rotation from Zcash to Monero to Dash. And there's a slight chance that maybe some of that capital will move over to the next players. Maybe BDX, maybe DCR. But we're getting here to altcoins that are very small in market cap and don't have a strong branding, unfortunately. There's a good chance that Zcash will continue to go down from here and the capital can very easily flow to the competition. Hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, then feel free to give this a like. Thanks again for watching. See you next time on YouTube. Cheers!